So if you landed on this video, I assume you are brand new to video editing and you are just trying to get your first ever project done in iMovie. Now, iMovie is actually a really good software for beginners because of two things. Number one, it is pretty simple and easy to use. And number two, it is completely free and comes either pre-installed for your Mac, or you can just go to the App Store, search up iMovie and download it for completely free. So in this video, I'm going to show you step by step how to put together and edit some of the most important things that you need to know about how to use this software. So I really hope you're going to enjoy it, and let's get right into it. So when you first open up iMovie, this is what you are going to see. And the first thing that you need to do is click here on Create New. Now you will have two options. You can either create a movie where you can combine your own photos, videos, and music to make your edit. And this is what you are going to use most of the time. You can start from scratch selecting this setting, or you can also create a trailer and use one of Apple's pre-made templates to create like a Hollywood style movie trailer. Anyways, I'm just going to go and click on movie right now because I want to start from scratch. And as you can see now, this is the interface of the software. So just to quickly walk you through it, here we have our media panel right here where we are going to be able to import all of our clips. On the right side here, we will have our playback window, and on top of that, some of the settings that we are going to be able to use to adjust our clips. And then here on the bottom, we will have our timeline where we are going to be able to scroll through it and also make edits to our clips. And aside from this, we also have the audio and video tab here, the titles tab, the backgrounds, and the transitions as well. So the first thing that you want to do is actually get your files organized. Now, this is a tip that I recommend because if you haven't got into the habit of organizing your videos before you would edit them, it's really hard to get into it later, and it's going to make your life so much easier. So what I recommend you to do is to, whenever you're editing a new video, create a new folder on your computer and then create separate folders within that for the different types of footage that you are going to be working with. For example, here I just have a folder for music and sound effects and one for B-roll. Now, after this, I'm going to click here on Import Media. I'm going to choose this exact folder on my computer. And now I'm going to go and choose all these clips that I want to get imported onto my project. Now, another thing that you can do alternatively as well, I'm going to show you this with the music, is you can just drag and drop it here into this area. And as you can see, now it's also been added here. Now, when it comes to video editing, choosing the right songs and sound effects is super important. It could literally make or break your video. It could be the difference between someone watching your video and getting the exact emotions and feelings that you wanted them to feel, or them watching the video and thinking, this was decent, but something was missing. Now, when it comes to actually finding these sound effects and songs, it's actually very difficult if you don't know where to look. You cannot just use any songs or sound effects that you find online, because then you are going to run into some copyright issues and get your content taken down and potentially even get your account banned. Now, that's where Epidemic Sound, the sponsor of this video, comes in. Epidemic Sound is a restriction-free music and sound effect platform where you can get access to over 40,000 songs and over 90,000 sound effects. I've been using Epidemic Sound for over 5 years at this point, and what I love about them is that I can always find the song that is going to take my video to that next level and just add that extra bit of flavor to it. All the songs are neatly organized into different kind of moods and also categories, so you can very easily find the exact type of song that you are looking for, and same goes with the sound effects. You just search up whatever sound you are looking for, download it, and that's it. You can use it in your project. Some of my favorite features about Epidemic Sound are the Find Similar feature, where if you found a song that you like, it's going to show you automatically similar ones to that. The Stem downloads, where you can get the layers of a song separately, giving you full creative freedom. And their latest plugin for Adobe Premiere Pro that will actually analyze your entire video and give you song suggestions based on that. So if you want to try out Epidemic Sound yourself, you can click the first link in the description and start a 7-day trial and try out all their amazing music and sound effects there for yourself. Trust me, it's going to make a huge difference in your editing, so check it out. Anyways, back to the tutorial. Now, next step is to actually add the clips that you want to have in your video onto your timeline. So for example, you can see if I select one of the clips here in my media panel and scroll through it, I can actually see what is inside of that clip in my preview window. And if I want to just go ahead and put this entire thing into my project and my actual timeline, then I can just drag and drop it here, or I could alternatively also press this little plus button that's right here. Now, another thing that you can do is you can just select a certain part of that clip and only add that part to the timeline. So you can either use these two handles on the side by clicking on it, holding down the button, and then kind of like scrolling like this. So you can choose which part you want it to start. Or alternatively, you can also just scroll to where you want it to start, press I on your keyboard to set the endpoint, and then go to where you want the clip to end, press O on your keyboard, and then you can add this to your actual timeline. And obviously the same thing goes for sound effects and songs as well. Another cool shortcut that you can use is you can just select the clip that you want to add to the timeline, press E, and it's going to add it automatically. All right, now let me show you how to adjust some of the key settings of the actual timeline. So for example, one of the biggest things that you are going to use a lot is zooming in and out on the timeline. So you can either do that by pulling on this slider right here. So the more you pull it to the left, the more zoomed out it's going to be. The more you pull it to the right, the more zoomed in it's going to be. Or alternatively, you can also just use your touchpad if you are using a laptop, for example, and use it to zoom in or out. Now, if you come here to settings, you will be able to find a couple settings for the project and also the timeline here. So for example, you can adjust the clip size right here. You can click whether you want to have waveforms or not. So if I add this sound, for example, here, you can see that this is the waveform right here, right? Where I can see how loud the clip is at each point. And if I uncheck this, it's going to be just this thin slice, so to say. I'm going to leave that checked. And these other settings, you don't really need to mess with those right now. So I'm not going to adjust any of those for now. Now, when it comes to deleting something from your timeline, obviously you can just select that clip, press on delete, and it's going to get rid of it. And when it comes to undoing or redoing changes, you can just use Command plus Z to undo something, and you can use Shift Command plus Z to redo something. Now, when it comes to making a cut to a clip, the easiest way to do it, in my opinion, is just to press Command plus B on your keyboard, and it's going to make a cut to the clip that is selected where exactly your playhead is. So for example, if I want to make a cut here, I can just press Command plus B, and as you can see now, it turned it into two separate clips. Now, if I wanted to, get rid of this middle part, for example, of this clip, I can just make another cut here, select this one in the middle, press delete, and it got rid of that. Another way you can adjust the length of a clip on your timeline is by pressing on the side of it and grabbing these like little yellow kind of handles. And yeah, you can also trim your clips this way. Another thing you're going to do quite a lot is adjusting the volume of certain songs or sound effects. So it is very, very simple and straightforward to do. All you need to do is select the certain song that's on your timeline, and where you can see this little yellow line going across the whole clip, just click on your mouse, and as you can see, if I drag this down, it's going to show me what percentage I'm putting the sound to, right? So I can raise the gain all the way to 400%, or I can lower it to whatever percentage I want to. You might also want to change the speed of a clip. Maybe you want to slow it down or speed it up. And there are a couple ways you can do this. Number one, you can right click on it and then click on Show Speed Editor. And then basically with this, you are able to pull on the side and make it either faster by, dragging it and compressing it, so to say, or you can slow it down by pulling it to the right? So if you pull, for example, the right side of it to the left, it's going to be faster. If you pull it to the right, it's going to be slower. Let me show you. So right now it's slowed down all the way, as you can see. But if I go and grab this part here, I can actually speed it up as well quite a lot, just like that. Now, another way you can also do this is by pressing on it and then coming here to this little speedometer icon. And then here where it says speed, as you can see now, it's on custom speed of 683%, but I could also put it to slow, fast, normal, whatever I want right there. All right, now let's talk about adding B-roll for just a little bit. So B-roll is when you have a main clip and then you add some supplemental footage on top to kind of maybe demonstrate something a person is talking about, or whatever the case might be, right? So here's how you can do that. Basically, the way that the timeline works in iMovie is whichever clip is on the highest track or video track, so whichever one is on top, so to say, is what gets priority, right? So basically, as you can see now, I dragged this woman surfing on top of this regular wave, and now it's the one that's actually showing on the timeline, right? But if I scroll all the way here where there's nothing on top, I can still see the wave. Now there is another thing that you can actually adjust, which is called opacity, which is kind of like how see-through a clip is, so to say. So you can see if I select this clip and I pull down the opacity, then I can see some of the clip that's under it, but I can also still see some of the clip that's on the top. So you can create some pretty interesting effects with that. Now, if you want to just add simple B-roll, then it's easy as this, right? Like you literally just grab your clip and then put it all over the other one, and then it's B-roll. Another thing you can do as well here is if you want to do, let's say, a screen recording video where you have a face cam, then you can click here on this little thing where it says cutaway right now, and you can choose between green screen / blue screen. So if you have green screen footage, you should select that to take out the background. There is also a split screen option, which by the way just creates the split screen effect like in movies. So for example, I just created this, which is pretty cool. And as you can see, I can also change the positioning of it and so on. So yeah, there is a very simple and effective way to create a split screen, or you can click on picture in picture, which is how we can actually do this face cam effect if that's something that you want to do. So you can see now it turned it into this little video inside of the other video, and I can drag this wherever I want on my screen. I can change the size of it. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I can also add a border to it if I want, or a shadow as well, and make all these different adjustments. Okay, now I want to talk a little bit more about some of these interesting adjustments that are over the playback area. So the first one is the color adjustment tab, right? So if you have a clip selected, you can do a couple things here. Number one, you can click on auto, and then it's going to automatically kind of like adjust the colors to whatever the software thinks is going to look best. So in this case, as you can see, it added some more contrast to my clip. There's also this match color section. With this one, you can basically select a clip that you want to match the colors of, and you just click on it. And as you can see, based on which one I'm clicking, it's changing the temperature of my clip, the saturation, the tint, all the different settings to make sure that they match as well as humanly possible. So this is a very cool feature as well. There is also the white balance. So here you can actually use this little eyedropper tool to click on the widest part of your picture to set the white balance of it. Here within the color balance section, they also have a skin tone balance one. So if you have a clip with a person, you can click that to set the skin tone balance. There's also this color correction tab here where you can adjust the darkness or the brightness of the clips. You can adjust also the saturation, and you can also adjust the tint of your clips as you wish. Now the next part here is the crop tool, right? So I can crop in the image more, or make it more cropped out, whatever you want. You can also rotate your clip with this exact setting. So yeah, that's pretty cool. And with the Ken Burns, you can also make like some animations if you wish. Now, aside from this, you can see this little shaky camera icon is actually a stabilizer function. So if you have some handheld footage, maybe that is a little bit shaky, then you can click here on stabilize shaky video. It's going to analyze your entire clip and try to stabilize it as much as humanly possible. And then you can actually use this slider to change how much the clip is being stabilized. So you can see that this clip was already pretty stable, so it didn't do much here. But if it wasn't, it would actually make a big difference. Let me show you just a example clip between stabilized and unstabilized after clicking this function. So yeah, it is pretty impressive in my opinion. Then obviously the next adjustment here is the volume adjustment. We already covered that. Then we have the background noise reduction function. So this is also a pretty helpful one, especially if you shot maybe outside and there's some voice, you know, some monologue involved in your video. If you click this, it's going to make your voice, you know, just crispier and try to remove as much of the background noise as possible. Then we have the speed adjustment. We already covered this as well. Now here we have the clip filters and audio effects after this. So if you want to add a clip filter, you can just select the clip that you want to adjust and then choose between all these different ones that we have. So for example, I just applied this hard light one right now, and I can change the intensity of it with this slider, as you can see. And we also have a bunch of different audio effects. So if I select an audio file, I can click here and you can see there's a bunch of different effects like the muffled, robot, cosmic. So you can play around with this yourself. You know, you might not use these as much, but it's still pretty cool that they are there. And then the last button here is just the information, which gives you some more details about the certain clip that you have highlighted on your timeline. All right, next up, let's talk about adding some titles to your video. So if you come here to titles, you're going to see all these different templates that are actually built into iMovie. So you can choose whichever one you like. For example, I'm just going to select, let's just say this one, focus one. And the way you add it is by simply dragging and dropping it over your clip. And yeah, after that, you can click on it, right? You can select the text by double clicking on it and then change it to whatever you want. So I'm just going to name it Surfing School, for example. You can choose the font you want to use. You can change the size of the font as well. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Change the color, whether you want it to be bold or not. And yeah, all these different things. And if I watch this back, this is what we got. So as you can see, it slowly comes in with this blur and then it blurs out. So looks pretty professional, to be honest. Yeah, it was just a few seconds, as you could see. Now, if you want to adjust the length of a text clip, then you can just drag on the side of it and make it as long or as short as you wish. When it comes to the backgrounds right here, these are basically just, like the name suggests, backgrounds that you could add to your video. So the way you add it is by simply selecting the one you want to add, adding it to your timeline where you want to have it. You can also change the length of this as you want, and you can, you know, add different things on top of it, like texts or even videos, whatever you want. Now, next up, we have transitions right here. So a transition is something that you can add between two clips. And instead of just having a hard cut there, right, with zero transition, you can make them kind of like fade into each other, for example, or add a certain animation so that one goes into the other one in an interesting way, right? There's all of these different transitions that you can use here. The most popular one is the cross dissolve one. So the way you apply it to a clip is by simply dragging it between the two clips, or you can also even apply it to the beginning of a clip, for example, like here. And if you add it to the beginning of it where there's nothing beforehand and there's nothing under the clip as well, it's just going to create this kind of like fade from black effect. So that's pretty cool to use sometimes. And then, as you can see, if it's between two clips, this is kind of how it looks. So yeah, if you want to change the length of a transition, the way that you do it, the easiest is by double clicking on it, and then you can change the duration to whatever you want. So for example, let's say you want it to be 0.3 seconds instead of 1 second. You can just click on apply, and it just made it much faster. There are all these other transitions as well, so you can obviously play around with them and try out all of them. Now, if you want to add voiceover to your clips, all you have to do is just click here on record voiceover, and it's going to basically create a recording for you that way. I'm not going to do it this way because it would mess up my recording, but trust me, just click it, and then it's simple as that. Now, once you are done with your masterpiece and you put together all the clips, you cut out all the parts that you didn't want, you adjusted the volume, made sure everything looks good, you added your titles, your songs, your music, your sound effects, all of that stuff, all that's left to do is to go and export your project. So if you want to do that, you just come here to the top right corner, click on share, And you can actually do a couple of things here, right? So you can either save the current frame, which is just going to basically like almost like take a screenshot, so to say, of the frame that's currently on your preview window or wherever your playhead is at. Obviously it's not a screenshot because it's like a full quality picture. Or you can also click on export file, or you could also share to YouTube and Facebook or email, but I would just recommend you to export file most of the time. And you can name your clip whatever you want here, or your project, right? So I'm just gonna name this surfing, and then you can add the description to it, what it's about. You can add some tags to it if you want. And then here you can select whether you want it to be video and audio as well, or audio only. Obviously we want video and audio. You can select the resolution as well, whether you want it to be 1080p or 4K. I'm just gonna stick with 1080. You can change the quality, all right? So I'm going to just keep it on high, but you could also set a custom one if you wanted to, where you can set up how much data it should use in every second. And then there's also a compression setting here, so you can choose whether you want it to basically export it faster or export it slower but have better quality. So I'm just going to click this on better quality right now. Click on next. I'm just going to choose the desktop for now. Click on save, and after this, if you click here, you can see, it's making the progress right here, and it gives you also an estimate of how long it's going to take to fully export. So for me, it's showing me that it will take 1 more minute. And after that's done, it's going to be available at the place that you selected it to be exported to and ready to be uploaded or sent to your friends or whatever you want to do with it. So yeah, mine just needs 7 more seconds. And let's check how it looks afterwards. So as you can see, I have this clip right here, and this is my final export. Looks very good, and yeah, it was pretty simple and straightforward, right? So I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to learn more editing from me in other softwares like Adobe Premiere Pro, then you can check out my community, videoeditors.io, where you can get mentored by me and even get your videos reviewed by me personally in the description below. And also check out Epidemic Sound for all your music and sound effect needs in the future. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.